Welcome back to another episode of the ConquerCast. Question for you.
Answer.
When all is said and done, how do you feel like you'll measure your life? All right, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the ConquerCast. I'm here with one of my great friends, Bryan Child. I don't even know where to start with this guy. I just love him. He's incredible. We've spent a lot of time together through this industry. He's got an incredible family. I want to talk to you about your family. I want to talk about being a husband, being a father. He's a doctor. He also owns Bakcou. He's one of the owners there. Many of you know that brand. He and I have spent some time in South Africa hunting together, doing some work there. We've done some Conquer Hunger events together. And we share a lot of similar, our faith and kind of passion for helping people, and just stories that we can reflect on probably outside this podcast and things we've learned and gone through. And he's just one that I can turn to, know that I'm going to get really sound advice and good feedback. And so you look for guys like that. You look for mentors in your life that have been through and experienced things that you can lean on, and Bryan has been one of those for me. So I appreciate you being here, Bryan. Honestly, I don't know where to go with this podcast because there's so much that you could just lend to the world and to our listeners, but thank you for making time.
Well, first off, thank you. It's an honor to be here. I really do appreciate it. And, there's certain people in your life that you admire from a distance. And, I've been fortunate to be able to spend some close time with you. South Africa will always have a special place in my heart. But the time that you and I got to spend there with this group of guys, but you and I being, room buddies, and getting to spend a little extra time, getting back from a long hunt and then laying in bed and just talking about life, I'll cherish that forever. But I've admired you for a long time, Trevor, and you two are somebody I've looked up to, and then to be able to get to spend time with you and do the things that we've done just have been icing on the cake.
Yeah, it's a blessing to have good friends like this, and your wife's incredible. She is so much energy, so much soul, so much to bring to the table as well. I know she's been a part of your journey. We've loved getting to know her. You have taken me and my wife on to some rodeos, and we've had some date nights and such. And so, and then your family, just an incredible family. Most recently was at an event that your family put on, in particular your daughter and son-in-law, to help one of their friends who has cancer. I think it was the butt cancer event.
Yes.
And a lot of funds raised for this family that's going through something difficult.
Yeah, it was overwhelming. The response that we got to this butt cancer event. My son-in-law Colton, who married my daughter Meg, actually started a charity called As He Did, and so we put on this charitable event at the Bakcou Center, and it was incredible the number of people that came out to support Randy. And we've had a couple of messages back and forth with Randy and his wife, and what that meant to them, that support at that time when you're going through chemo and another round of chemo, and just how isolated and alone you can feel. I've never been through that, but I can only imagine what it's like to be going through that, and how alone you must feel, and vulnerable you must feel, and to have all these people come out and just let you know that, hey, we're thinking of you. And then the donations and the support, I mean, from MTN Ops and from you and Jenna being there, and just people just like that showing up. It made it a special event.
Yeah, it's interesting because I didn't know who this guy was, but I know you, and I know your children. And so if it's important to you and I can support in some way, then you show up. But I was really, I felt like we left there like very inspired. I'll say like a lot to your son-in-law, his message. I didn't know he set up they set up a 501c3 called in his name. What is it? As he did. Because his message to us was about that, as he did, and we should do as he did, as the Savior did. How are we serving? How are we looking out for those around us? And I just walked away thinking, oh man, I'm super impressed with him and that message and what he's gathered. I mean, I was looking around and there was hundreds of people there, and everyone was asking how we knew Randy.
Yep, Randy.
And I was like, I don't. Like, I'm just learning about him for the first time right here, but it definitely makes me want to know who he is. But I know you and your family, and I was like, I just want to be here to support whatever they're doing. So, and you guys have been that for us in so many ways with Conquer Hunger and Mountain Ops along the way. And I'm grateful we were able to connect in in South Africa. You know, I had been down there. You served your mission there, and I had these friends that I really wanted you and Dave to meet, the Jordan family, and finally you guys obviously met and then put the hunt together on your own, went down, and then we were finally able to get back there together. And like Bryan said, we were roommates for a week and got to spend some quality time just chatting about life and family. And at this event, we were teamed up into teams, randomly up into teams. And we got put on the same team with Tim, Brent, Eva Shockey's husband. Yeah. It was the three of us. And we called ourselves
the Dugga Boys.
The Dugga Boys. What is that? What is that again? A Dugga? Is it like a big bowl?
It's the what are they? The buffalo, the Cape Buffalo, the Cape Buffalo, known as Black Death, I think. Yeah. And we were all assigned to come up with a team name, and I think you came up with it. Yeah. I know we were all like, trying to Google and figure out.
Remember them saying Dugga Boy at one point, and I was just listening to them. It was a few trips before that I'd been on, and they're like Dugga Boys, and I was like, that sounded cool. I don't know exactly what they meant by it. So
as soon as you brought it up and you told us what Dugga Boy meant, we were all in. It was awesome. It was a special time. We had some great conversations riding around in that little Toyota Land Cruiser and on the mountain and sitting on the hillside late in the evening and early in the morning. I'll cherish those moments that we had as well.
Yeah, super cool. So tell us a little bit. We had Dave on here, and he told us a little bit about Bakcou from your standpoint, and I want to dive in a little bit after that further into your past and as a doctor and everything. But how's Bakcou going, and what's been the story and the experience and the things you've learned through building this incredible backcountry electric bike company?
Well, it's been amazing. We've learned a lot. Bakcou really started as it's a passion company. We didn't intend for it to become what it is. As you've mentioned, I practice what's called electrodiagnostic medicine. I'm a neurophysiologist, and at the time, this was late 2016, I had 7 clinics that I was in, from Park City to Salt Lake to Ogden, Utah, and I would travel around to different clinics and had a big church calling at the time, and really needed something else to do, like I needed a hole in the head. So wasn't really looking for something else to take my time. But Dave and I have been good friends since he married one of my twin sisters, Jamie. And we've had a passion for archery elk hunting, and we've archery elk hunted together for a long time. And we've talked for many years about we need to come up with a business in this outdoor space that kind of connects us to people in the space, but also maybe can be a tax write-off, because we spend a lot of money on this. And so we were looking for a tax shelter and something to be able to get into the industry a little bit. And Dave at one point came and said, "What do you think about electric bikes?" And there just happened to be a big electric bike show overseas, and he's like, "I think we should go to this." And I was like, "Oh, dude, I think it would be amazing. There's no way I can leave in 3 weeks." Yeah. And it was coming up quick, and so Dave actually took off, and he said, "Well, I'm going to go. I'll bring back lots of intel, and then we'll talk and we'll go from there." So he's like, "I don't want to go alone." I think he started putting out some feelers of it. Can anybody go? And I think even my sister's like, "You're not going all the way over there around the world all by yourself." And so his dad went with him. Oh, cool. And so his dad rode shotgun all the way over. That's and awesome. They went to this show, and Dave came back, and then we ended up ordering some bikes, and we thought, hey, these will be cool to hunt on. And we realized when we got them, these are just little city commuter bikes, and they fell apart just as soon as we took them into the mountains. But it got the wheel spinning. We thought, man, this could actually be really cool. We can really, let's put a little bit of time into this. So we started working with some engineers.
Had you used bikes for your hunts up to that point? Or?
No. Okay. Dave talks about, and I'd never been on a hunt with him that he had, but he talks about a time when he used just a regular mountain bike, and I think it might have been up near Flaming Gorge on a hunt. But so the whole idea behind this was something that we could move quickly, scent free, and we could get in on animals, without them knowing we're coming quietly. Yeah. And it seemed like, that year every bull that we bugled was 2 canyons away, and we couldn't get there quick enough to get in on them. So that's where it started, and we started to design frames, and we ordered some bikes that came over, and they were actually a whole lot better than what we had done the first time,
cool.
and it just started to evolve, and we found a motor that was powerful enough to carry us and our gear and pull a 200-pound trailer, and then we started getting people that were interested, and they were like, "Hey, I want one of those. I want one of those." And so we decided, well, let's incorporate, and we ordered a container and started bringing them over, and before you know it, they were gone. We were in a little 1,500 square foot lease building over in Layton, and
Okay, so you started in Layton.
we started
Now
in
you're in
Layton.
Ogden.
Yep, and then we went from there 1,500 square feet to a 5,000 square foot building, and we thought we'd arrived. We
Yeah.
thought, oh, this is it. And 6 months later, we were like, oh man, we don't fit in here anymore. And so then we moved to where we're at now.
Because do you guys do all your own shipping and everything of the
Yep.
orders and that?
Yep.
So you have to warehouse, and these aren't
Yeah.
small boxes. I mean,
Right. Yeah, they're big boxes.
Yeah.
And so, so we're in Ogden, Utah now, and 17,000 square feet. And that's where our marketing team and our sales team and the whole staff is there. And then we've got warehouse where we ship out of. We've got distributors in Canada, and we've got several, a couple hundred dealers across the U.S. And we do some international stuff. And we were riding the COVID wave a little bit there.
Yep.
I think as a lot of outdoor businesses
Yep.
did too. We got our feet underneath us. By 2019, 2020 came along, and then we just skyrocketed. And I think that actually helped. Timing, in a lot of businesses is a big part of it. And
if you were in outdoors and you were in outdoor, like almost fitness related, like activity related product, I mean, that was a time that you could shine.
Can't
right?
go to the movie.
Yeah.
You can't go to Disneyland. Everybody's
Yeah.
looking to get outside. And I think all of us that are hunters realize that all of our hunting spots that you'd never seen anybody in all of a sudden had,
Lots of
20 people there.
So you got to go further.
And so,
hop on a bike,
so
right?
Then, we had a perfect
Yeah.
solution for it. So that's kind of how it started. It wasn't meant to become what it is today. And we've hired some incredible people early on. Actually, at the Western Hunt Expo in Salt Lake City, a guy, Bryan Marsing.
I love Bryan Marsing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just a lifelong friendship developed. But he came into our booth, and he was
Just as a consumer, like they're checking things
I
out.
think he was looking to get a trailer, but he was also, because he'd bought a bike, and I think he was maybe even pushing a product that his brother was selling, a scope band cover. Came over and talked to us about that. But I was just so impressed by how personal he was and how he communicated and carried himself. And I don't know what or why, but I wasn't the one that was talking, but I could just hear him talking to people next to me. And when he left, I walked over and asked, who was that? And I had this inkling that this is somebody that needs to work for us. I wrote his name down, and probably 6 months later, he submitted an application, and we weren't even hiring.
No way. It wasn't that you reached out.
No. And he submitted an application, and I was like, oh my gosh, I think this is the guy that I saw down at Western Hunt. And I can't say enough good things about Bryan.
Was he in banking before?
He worked for Mountain America Credit Union, and anybody that knows Bryan just knows that he's a people person.
Yeah.
He's very genuine, treats people really well, and so initially, when he put his application in, I talked to Dave and just said, man, we got to do something with this guy. I think we could use help with maybe influencers, and he's perfect for it because he's so good with people. So Bryan came on, and now he's our vice president of marketing and sales, and has done as much for Bakcou as any of us. Just grateful for him, and we've met some tremendous people in the industry, but also at Bakcou that we're just so grateful for.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool. So it sounds like it's a surprise that it turned into what it has, because you weren't planning. You were just looking for a tax shelter place to live your passion, do that. Like any other surprises that like you didn't expect from this business that you're like, oh wait, or either good or bad, and something you learned from it?
Yeah. It's funny. It seems like most businesses start that way, right? There's a pain point, and we're trying to solve something. I know with Mountain Ops and your dad and his neuropathy. We're looking for a solution, something to solve a problem, and that's what Bakcou was. And so, no, it wasn't intended to be that, but I would say business is hard. Like being an entrepreneur and being a founder and running a business is hard. It's hard because part of the greatest thing about running a business is all the people that you meet, but at the same time, sometimes that can be really difficult because there's lots of opinions and lots of direction and lots of thoughts of how you should do things. And
sometimes those people you want and you value the opinions, but they also don't see behind the curtain on all the risks that you're taking, or the decisions you're having to make, or the choice, right?
The financial and the time that you invest in it. And you want to do right by everybody, but that can be difficult. We've had lots of, probably like any new company, you design something, you put it out, you think, oh man, we've arrived, this is it. And then you have a couple of problems with, a battery, or you have problems with a motor or something. And then you're working with your manufacturer again and saying, hey, we got to tweak this, got to tweak that. So you're always evolving, and your next model is even better than your last model. But some of those headaches you don't think about when you first jump in. You think, oh, this is just going to be smooth sailing.
Do you have to, with a product like that, do you have to innovate and come out with new models like on a prescribed like timeline every so often, or how does that work? Or is it just kind of as you innovate and as you find opportunities?
Yeah, I think it evolves because you recognize the weaknesses in your current product, and you say, how can we make this even better? And so initially our motors, this is a great example. When we first started, the motors came with a Teflon gear inside of it, and it was a metal gear and a Teflon gear, and the Teflon was meant to keep it quiet, and so that you wouldn't have kind of the metal on metal. You wouldn't need the gear grease in there. And but we realized that the Teflon wouldn't hold up to high temperatures, and when you're climbing lots of mountains and pulling trailers, the Teflon would strip. And so then we had to evolve to all metal gearing, and then we had to, how do we make this quiet, and how do we make it function the way it's supposed to? And it's evolved all the way to the point of, you can only go as far as your battery will let you go. And initially bikes came with one battery, and now our new bikes have the ability to carry a battery on the pannier rack, and you can essentially have two batteries, so you can go double the distance. It snaps on and off just very easily. And so there's things that, I think, one, you recognize, oh, we can make this better. And here again, these bikes were built by hunters for hunters. We're still using them. And so we're still hard on them, and we're still out there saying, oh man, wouldn't it be nice if we could do this with it? And so
cool.
That kind of
awesome.
pushes it too.
Yeah. And you guys do some incredible hunts, and I'm sure push those bikes to the limits. And I know that, you also push your own body. You spend time taking care of your body. I've seen you in the gym. I couldn't keep up with you in South Africa. Just so you were like, these guys, these ex-rugby players, they can push some weight around. Bryan can push it around with them.
Not with the Jordans. not at the level they can.
It's awesome. But have you seen that impact on community as well as getting people out and like improving their fitness level just by having a product that gets them moving? And
absolutely.
How much of that is important to you?
Yeah, right at the top of the list.
Okay.
And that our tagline at Bakcou is elevate your life. And it really isn't about selling a product, because the products come and go. The financial side of things, while it's important, that doesn't fulfill you in life. And to be able to change somebody's life, as you know, through Mountain Ops, that brings you far more satisfaction. That makes it feel like what you're doing, you're giving something back. And that goes a whole lot further than just selling a product. And we've had a number of customers call us and say, your bike being fat tires and heavy duty and built like it is with heavy duty motors and the capabilities that it has allows me at 450 pounds to ride it. And at first I had to ride it on a level assist 5. The motor's doing most of the work because I just couldn't do it. And now I'm all the way down where I'm riding 20 miles a day, and I'm on a level assist 2 or a level assist 1. And I've, lost all this weight. And those are the things that, at the end of the day, that make you feel good about what you're doing.
That's awesome. That's really cool. What is, like, if somebody's listening right now and they're interested in a bike, what do you recommend people dive into? What are the top sellers?
Well, first off, you're going to want to look at what's your application. What are you going to use it for? Are you somebody that's going to do a lot of backcountry hunting, like you're going to be in a lot of rocky, hilly terrain, then we're going to push you towards a bike that has the capabilities to be able to climb and to be able to do stuff like that. If you're somebody that is going to use it more on rolling hills, and maybe you live in the Midwest where it's more rolling hills and cornfields, then you don't need that big heavy duty diesel engine motor.
Yeah.
You could use something like, the little Toyota Tacoma motor that's going to do just fine for you, and it's actually maybe going to be even a little bit better. We have some bikes that we've eliminated the rear derailleur, and the motor and the gearing is in the hub. And so you literally, it's our Flatlander bike. You actually don't have to shift any gears. As you're pedaling, it's an automatic transmission. It shifts into the next gear. And so if you're riding in areas where there's sticks and weeds and maybe corn stalk, instead of it smacking against a derailleur, then this bike's perfect for that. But it's not made to climb the steep mountains. At that point, you need to have more gears. You need to be able to shift your gears. And so we have options for those that are going to be climbing steeper mountains and maybe carrying and pulling more gear. Yeah. So it always comes back to, what's the application? How are you going to use it? And then we're going to push you in a direction of the bike that's best for you. We even have a bike that is more of a kind of a sport trail bike for those that say, hey, 80% of the time, I'm just going to use this to go out and ride single track trails, but I'm a hunter. And the other 20% of the time, I want to put a rack on it and I want to pull a trailer. Yeah. And so we've got a bike that, hey, 80% of the time you're doing this, 20% of the time you're doing this. That's cool. Or vice versa.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then there's the new like motorcycles. Is that all part of this as well?
Yeah, that's all part of this.
Is this a new product that you guys just?
It is. Yeah, we launched Bakcou Moto in 2025. Okay. So just this past year, they've been out for a year. It's something that was in the works for a number of years. This was our 5th generation. It's called the Puma X22 and the Puma X24, but they were in the works for a number of years, and then we came off the COVID bubble, and the economy slowed down a little bit, and at that point we felt like it wasn't the time to launch a whole new line of Bakcou, and so we held on to it for a couple of years, and then in 2025 felt like, hey, this is the time to launch. So yeah, all electric motorcycles, and they absolutely rip.
I've heard. They are fun. I think you guys had like a prototype in your park. It was just a couple of years ago, and I hopped on, and I've never rode a motorcycle before, so when I took off, it surprised me at how fast. And now, are those being used for hunts as well, or is that kind of people out having fun?
Both. So the Puma, our X22 has been our most popular one because it's probably made more for the guy that doesn't do motocross, the guy that doesn't need a great big bike and maybe isn't used to all of that. And so the Puma X22 would be probably the equivalent of like a 250 cc. And they're fun to ride single track, but then our bikes are also built to do what our electric bikes are, which is carry gear. So you can, there's a rear pannier rack on it that you can put your bags, and you can pull a trailer, and you can put your gear on it, and you can go into the backcountry. And I got off an elk hunt this year with my boys, and we used the Puma X22, and it was a game changer.
That's
like
awesome.
It allowed us to do things that we, get in on animals and get into areas that we wouldn't have been able to. The difference between the electric motorcycles and the electric bikes is the electric bikes, you can meet certain classifications, and you can ride them where you can ride a regular pedal bicycle, and where it's a non-motorized trail. Whereas when you're riding an electric motorcycle, it's you're on motorized trails.
Have rules and regulations on that changed a lot? Do you guys have to kind of pay attention to that, or are your bikes like good to go most places, or is there still some
that's one
restriction?
thing. That's one thing about Bakcou is we came out with technology that allows you to program your bike to meet the requirements or the regulations of the area that you're riding in. So if there's an area that is a class 1 e-bike only, which is 750 watts, the bike does not go faster than 20 miles per hour, and it does not have a throttle. It's pedal assist only. If there's an area that only allows that, then you can program the motor so that it disables the throttle, it controls the motor down to 20 miles per hour, and it sets the motor at 750 watts. Or you can go in and you can adjust the setting to a class 2 or a class 3 or an unrestricted mode that allows you to be able to ride. If you're on private ground and there's no restrictions, or you're in an area where there's no restrictions, and you can open it up. but it's a fine line. One, we want to give the consumer what they want and what they need for the area and that they're in and using
Yeah.
it for, but we also want to work with those that are trying to manage it and
Yeah.
regulate it. And so so we came out with this technology
That's
that
cool.
allows somebody that's patrolling to come up, and you can look down at the screen of our bike and it'll say class 1, class 2, or class 3. They'll know immediately if you're riding within regulations of the area.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. That's really cool. From a business standpoint, is most of the sales coming through partner retail stores, partners, or is it through your website, or how?
Yeah, it's about 50-50,
Is it really?
B2B and D2C.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about 50-50. And the first question that Dave and I, had when we decided to do this was, do we go B2B? Do we go D2C? Do we do them both? We still ask ourselves that question still today. What's the right way to go? We found that nobody markets you like you do.
Yeah.
And so we feel like we have a good balance.
Yeah.
And that balance is we pay attention to our dealers, and we are very strict with MAP, and we make sure that we're playing by the rules, they're playing by the rules, and we patrol it and make sure that it's an even playing field for everybody.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you guys have brought in a lot of really good partners, influencers. Like, what's the culture like that? What is the emphasis around partnerships and how to treat them? And do you guys have a set of core values, or what? How do you decide, like, this is how we're going to create this environment that we want the right people to come?
It's I would say it's fairly easy because we search for like-minded people that are passionate like we are, but also want to do the right thing. That as much as we're hunters, we're also conservationists. We want people to respect wildlife and to respect the wild areas that they're using our products in. And so I think we're just attracted to those people. The people that represent Bakcou are people that there's a lot of roundtable discussions when we sit down and we say, God, we would love to have Jana Waller represent Bakcou. And so we have those types of discussions and say, how do we work with Lee and Tiff? Those are people that we would love to work with. They have the same ideals that we have and align with who Bakcou is. And so, I think it's from discussions like that, and our team is, immersed in this industry. We love the space, and they're aware of, each one of us are, we don't know everybody, but somebody knows about everyone.
It's awesome.
So,
That's really cool. It's fascinating to know that you've got this incredible, successful e-bike company, but you're also a doctor. You're a
neurophysiologist.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Is there some similarities between owning a bike company in the outdoors and neurophysiology?
They are as far apart on the spectrum, I think, as you could get.
And tell me how still practicing, and I know your daughter's involved, but it's has it changed over time, your focus and your time and allotment and all that?
Like, you can't do them both 100%, right? You can only do so much. Yes, my practice of what's called electrodiagnostic medicine, I specialize in the peripheral nervous system. So I diagnose conditions from horrible motor neuron diseases like Lou Gehrig's disease to different types of muscle diseases like myopathies, polyneuropathies like your dad was dealing with, to radiculopathic things like a pinched nerve in your spine, your neck, and you got radiating pain in your arm or in your leg, sciatica type stuff, all the way down to isolated mononeuropathies like carpal tunnel syndrome and cubital tunnel syndrome and things like that. It has changed. So I was all in. It was 11 years of school, 2 years in residency. I've been in practice 20 years, and private practice, which is hard in today's world. Most physicians have joined together and they're part of a big group. And I've aligned myself with some great groups that I actually lease space from. So I go into their space and lease space from them, and perform the testing that I do. Every patient I see is referred to me. Somebody's having some type of numbness, tingling, or pain. When we started Bakcou, I had 7 clinics, and I slowly realized I couldn't take care of 7 clinics, and so I slowly closed them down to the point that I had one clinic, just in Ogden. It's in the Ogden Clinic on Harrison Boulevard, just down from Weber State University. I've been with this group for a number of years, and just I can't say enough good things about the providers at Ogden Clinic. Just good people that do it the right way.
You always hear when people speak of the Ogden Clinic, it's always in a good light. Yeah.
Just from administration to providers, to the MAs that work there. Just people have the patient's interest at heart, and it's just a good clinic to be part of. So I'm in the Ogden Clinic and have been there for, I don't know, probably 13, 14, 15 years or so. And that's my only clinic. At one point, I got so busy at Bakcou, and there was so much demand for me to be there, that I actually did hire another doc that comes in and sees patients. Her name's Nicole Koppenhaver, and she's just amazing. She's very skilled at what she does. She's been practicing for about 17 years. She lives in Washington, and I fly her in. She comes in 1 week a month, and we put her up in a VRBO, and she just hammers out patients for a week and sees a big patient load and takes really good care of people. And then she gets to go home for 3 weeks, and she lives up, near the panhandle of Idaho, in a beautiful area, loves to ski and do all outdoor stuff. And so Nicole took a big load off of my schedule by being able to bring her out, and then I could kind of have a week where she was taking care of patients.
Very specialized, it sounds like, because you think you could find somebody here in Utah, but it's like a very specialized practice.
Yeah, very specialized. Yeah, at one point I think there were 3 of us in Utah.
Really?
And now there might be, I don't know. I think there's probably 7, 8, 9 of us, and so it's not easy. And even the tabular data that we put out, so everything, we're gathering numbers and data, and we need to know, is your nerve conducting at the speed that it should, the latencies, the amplitudes, all of the things that are going to help us determine, do you have some type of nerve compromise, and if so, where's it coming from? That data is something that we then have to formulate into normal, abnormal, and why, and explain that to the physician, because most physicians don't really understand the numbers, and they're going to go a lot on our interpretation and our impression that we put down on the report. And so it's very fulfilling, because these people that come to see us are they're having a lot of pain, and they're having symptoms that they can't figure out, and they don't know where it's coming from.
Willing to do anything.
They've been, oftentimes to many physicians already, and finally get referred over to us to determine, is this something coming from the peripheral nervous system. And so it's very fulfilling and satisfying when we can diagnose somebody that then we can accurately treat. And so even in the busy phase of Bakcou, I was reluctant to give it up. I didn't want to pull away, because I love that aspect of problem solving, puzzle work, figuring things out, helping people. But
here's where I'm seeing some similarities, I'm sure, is that you're looking at analyzing data and this and that to provide a solution.
Yeah.
That's business right there. I'm sure that skill set, and you're very intelligent, way far beyond me. So how has that lent, as far as it goes with Bakcou, is playing into the data and the analytics and adjusting things here and there to find the solution? Is that have you?
That is my strength. My strength is in evaluating and assessing data. And so Dave, with regards to Bakcou, is more of the kind of the visionary, and I'm more of the rubber meets the road of kind of looking at numbers and finances and over ordering and purchasing, and Dave and I work closely on R&D and development, but he's an out-of-the-box thinker, and so he comes up with a lot of designs and product development type stuff, and then we go back and forth on things and hone it to make it exactly what we think that we would want, and hopefully our customers would want. But that definitely is something that plays to my strength in that side of running Bakcou.
Yeah, that's awesome. But you didn't let go of it all. You kept licensed. You kept involved. You kept a clinic going, bringing someone in. That's amazing. Yeah. And now, is your daughter doing the same thing?
Yeah. So Meg, 20 26 years old, just graduated from her doctorate program a year ago, and now she's doing her residency training with me.
That's
And
so, how was that?
Amazing. It's really special. Yeah, it's. I never dreamt that I would have one of my kids in the clinic with me, and we'd be geeking out over dorky stuff. And our kids, her husband in particular, and my son Jet, they call us dorks, and my wife all the time call us dorks because we get talking about nerve conduction and nerve velocity, and just all of the things that go into our practice, but she's as passionate about it as I am.
So
and
cool.
and so that really has been a special time for us to be in the clinic together.
Are you spending a little more time in the clinic right now, or is it?
I am. Yeah. So it's kind of transitioned a little bit where I was so heavy in Bakcou and not as much in the clinic. With her doing this residency, I have to be there more.
Yeah.
She has to see X amount of patients over a period of time so she can sit for her board certification. And we've been together over a year now, about a year and a half, and so she's seeing all the patients. I'm there, and she's actually seeing patients on her own now. That then
cool.
we go through reports together and make.
How long's a residency like that?
She'll take her boards in 2027, so
Okay.
I think February or so of 2027.
Yeah. Would the plan be to continue to work together?
Yeah, it will be. Unfortunately, we were actually just chatting about this yesterday, that I think we're both going to be a little sad when all of a sudden I'm in one clinic and she's in another, because right now we really enjoy that time that we get to be together. But yeah, she'll take some clinics and I'll take some clinics, and we'll probably, both be involved in back and forth. But yeah, she'll probably be in certain clinics more than I would.
Yeah, that's amazing. What's been the most fulfilling portion of that as a doctor, and is it the pain relief for a patient? Is it like seeing, or what have you loved most about that process?
Yeah, for sure, helping people. I mean, there's nothing more gratifying than seeing that, man, they couldn't figure out what was going on with the patient, and then they came to see you and you found, man, this person has a C6 radiculopathy, and they've got.
What does that mean?
They've got something that's compressing the C6 nerve root in their neck so badly.
And how are you finding that and diagnosing it?
So there's two parts to our test. The first part, we stimulate nerves with a little stimulator. It causes it to fire, and it allows us to gather data on how that nerve is conducting and responding. Wow. Second part of the test, we use a little wire. We call it we don't call it a needle, because that's a swear word. It's a little acupuncture-like wire, and we put it down inside the muscle. We look at muscle membrane activity, and is the muscle being compromised? Is the nerve being compromised? And it's really kind of like a puzzle. Think about it this way: if you have, for example, let's say your C8 nerve root. Well, it comes out, and that nerve comes out of your neck, runs down your arm, and it innervates certain muscles in your arm. And if I'm going through with my little needle electrode, or my little acupuncture needle, and I'm seeing that there's some abnormal responses in all of the muscles that C8 nerve root goes to, then I start to say, it's in all of these muscles that C8 goes to, but it's not in anything that C7's in, not anything that T1's in. And so then you start to just kind of cross off the list. You go through a process of elimination and say, hey, it's not this, and So in order for Meg to sit for board certification, she'll have to see 2,000 patients.
Wow.
You think about that, that's a lot of patients. Yeah. And so to get to the point where you can practice independent and have board certification, you really do spend a lot of time, and that's very gratifying to be able to help somebody that comes in and to point them in the right direction. But it's also, I think, part of just what you hit on a minute ago. I do kind of geek out on just the numbers and what does the numbers tell me? Where does that guide me and direct me? And I love looking at tabular data and making sense of it. And how can that help us?
That's awesome. That's really cool. You're, obviously you care for the human body and taking care of it and helping other people find outcomes for themselves. I've watched you over the years. You do have a strict nutrition and fitness routine. A lot of our listeners, that's what they come to Mountain Ops for. They're trying to find solutions or ways, or it's the ConquerCast. They're trying to equip themselves with things that they can do, maybe routines that have been beneficial to someone else. And by the way, those listening, if you've read through our blogs and such, You've probably seen some articles written by Bryan, and he has served on our advisory board as well here at MTN Ops. So he's written articles for us. Some of them are story blogs that talk about some of your hunts.
Yep.
Some of them may be more around like preparation or
Yep.
or the body or whatnot. But what's a routine that you follow that you've seen works that you'd encourage our listeners to do to help them conquer more physically, spiritually, mentally, socially? What do you do? What's your go-to routine that might help somebody else just by learning to what you do?
Consistency.
Okay.
Decide what you're going to do. Something that you can be consistent with, something you can continue to do. Because sometimes we, especially this time of year, right? We jump into all these New Year's resolutions. We make these goals and we say, hey, I'm gonna conquer the world. I'm gonna do all of these things. And is it realistic?
Yeah.
You have to pick something that's realistic. For me, I work out 6 days a week, and it's early in the morning because if I do it late in the evening, then other things get in the way. Family things get in the way. Church calling stuff gets in the way. Maybe work runs long. I can carve out time at 5:30 every morning to be to the gym, and so that for me, I'm up at 5:15. I work out for about an hour and a half. I come home. I do follow a pretty strict diet. I try to focus on protein intake and fiber intake. I try to limit my sugars as much as I can.
How much of your fitness would you say is physical in the gym and nutrition, like watching out for what you eat and spending time there?
I would say I'm in the gym. I'm very disciplined with the gym, but it's more work because we eat all day long, and so I would say it's more about my diet.
Yeah.
It's more, I can see much bigger gains and differences when my diet is in line with my exercise routine, as opposed to the opposite. If I'm not eating well, then I still feel like I get more inflammation in my joints. I get more tendonitis type stuff. Muscles don't recover as quick. But when my diet is dialed, then I feel like my gains in the gym are much better. I feel better.
What does a dialed diet look like for you?
Heavy protein. So I try to do a gram of protein per pound of body weight. And I'm not a big guy, 168 pounds. So I try to hit right around that 168, 170 grams of protein. And then I try to avoid a lot of the starchy carbs. So I don't do a ton of carbs. I try to avoid a lot of breads, and I don't do soft drinks, anything like that. Primarily it's water or hydrate. Something that Trevor knows about me that just probably close family members know is I have an allergic reaction to caffeine. So I can't do Ignite. But what do? I do Enduro and I do Hydrate. And I do Enduro every single morning. I do MTN Ops Enduro, creatine, and beta-alanine every morning. And
that's been my go-to for a few months now. I used to be a Yeti guy, I still do the caffeine because I drink hot Ignite in the morning, which has allowed me. But I've done that, and I love it. The Enduro, creatine, and beta-alanine. It's such a good combo.
It just gets circulation going. I feel good, and every morning that's at 5:30. That's getting mixed in my shaker bottle, and so so. I try to cut out sugars. I try to cut out, I don't cut out carbs. I mean, I'll have rice and chicken but one thing that I love is I love elk meat, and I love to eat elk, and it's good because that's the thing that I love to hunt the most is elk. And so I eat elk probably at least 4 days a week, if not 5-6 days a week.
In what manner? Are you eating steaks? You're eating burger? Or ground elk? What are you doing?
The Instapot changed my life. I can throw in, I don't even have to look at what cut of meat it is, and I can throw it in that Instapot and I'll throw in a little, maybe a Lipton onion soup mix, and just the powder form, and I'll throw in maybe an onion, and I'll put a bouillon cube or two in there and some salt and pepper. And then I'll turn that Instapot on, and I'll cook a whole roast. I'll cut that thing up, and I'll have it for breakfast or for lunch and dinner for the next 2 to 3 days.
That's awesome.
And so
does your family enjoy eating that with you as well?
I wish they enjoyed it more. No, but I'll eat.
Is it because of your recipe and your cooking, or is it they don't like elk as much?
I think the problem is my wife grew up on a dairy farm, on a beef farm. Her dad raised beef, and so they'd slaughter a beef every year. And as a matter of fact, her parents would give the kids every year for Christmas a case of beef every year, and so. I don't know. I think it's probably it's an acquired taste. If you haven't had elk meat, it has a little different taste. But once you eat it, you actually start to crave that more so than the fatty meat of beef. And it really is just something you have to acquire over time.
I agree.
And because I was the only one eating, I had to eat a lot of it. And if I was going to hunt next year, I had to eat what I killed the year before.
Justify going out.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Got to fill the freezer.
Yep. So I do a lot of that, and cut out sugars and try to limit carbs and hit fiber. I think it's important. I eat a lot of grains and nuts and seeds, and
That's all.
Works out for me.
Have you just found yourself into a routine that you now know, or is there a lot of tracking going on for you, or is it just you figured it out?
Yeah, I don't count anything.
It's all based off of like, this worked, it felt good, I'm gonna keep doing this until I don't feel good.
Exactly. Yeah, we're just coming off the holidays, right? And man, we've got some great neighbors, and they dropped off some awesome treats.
Yeah.
And I ate way too many of them. And so I've noticed, even just in this week, I was telling my wife this morning, God, I just feel like I have a little more inflammation in my knees. I squatted and deadlifted this morning and did a leg workout, and I felt I could just feel a little more inflammation because of all the crap that I ate over the last couple of weeks. But I do also think it's important to be human. And I try to live by the 90-10 rule. Sometimes it might go 80-20 rule. I'm not going to go to dinner with friends and not eat what we're serving at what they're serving at the restaurant, because that's just awkward. That makes nobody feel comfortable. And so I'm going to go and I'm going to find something that if I can. But if we're at a Mexican restaurant, I'm going to have enchiladas, or I'm going to have fajitas or something too, because I want to make sure that I'm not that awkward guy that nobody wants to go to dinner with because all you want to eat is elk meat.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's really cool. You, so doctor, owner of Bakcou Bikes, and husband, father, disciple of Jesus Christ. I want to talk about those kind of in that order. You and your wife seem to have an incredible relationship. You guys have even worked together in business. That's not always easy for couples to do together. What's the key to success for you, husband and wife, a marriage? How long have you guys been married?
We have been married 33 years. 33 years next month.
I thought you were like 35 years old. Like,
you're awesome. You're awesome. So we were married. Am I getting myself in trouble? We were married in February of '92. So what does that put us? 33 years, and I guess so that would put us at 34 years next month.
That's awesome.
Yeah, 34 years.
Yeah.
So, Terry, she's the greatest blessing in my life. If you want to see me tear up, then you'll just ask me about my wife. She truly is.
I saw a picture of your daughter the other day on Instagram too, and I thought it was your wife.
They do. They look like twins.
And I was like, and then I was like, that's not his wife. But tell us about her. Tell us how you guys have created what you've created, because a lot of you look at marriages out there these days, they're not lasting that long. They don't seem as happy as you.
Terry and I are best friends, and I've kidded for a number of years, and even Terry's kidded a little bit. Terry runs Bakcou, because if Terry can keep me, if she can help me manage my stress and manage the things that I have to do at home and church and at work, and help that run smoothly, then I can do my job. And she's so good with all of the employees at Bakcou. Everybody just loves Terry. She has such
I've even
great
seen her
energy.
like at Christmas time reading Christmas stories
Yes.
and bringing and then doing
Yes.
like I don't know, nutrition or fitness days where she's
Yes.
cooking certain things and
Yes.
teaching them here's
Yes.
why you'd eat this and here's why you'd feel better. Like
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. She runs these fitness challenges, and I think she's doing one right now where,
Cool.
you know, just trying to focus on more of the health side of fitness. And yeah, she's that person. She runs our human resources at Bakcou. She runs all of our shows. She's just multifaceted. Terry she's very capable, very driven. We're very much alike in that sense that we both find joy in work. We find joy in relationships and giving it our best. We love to go to bed in the evening tired, and we love to get up early in the morning. If I get up at 5:15, Terry's up at 4:30.
Wow.
Like she is.
What time are you guys going to bed?
We try to be in bed by 9:30.
Oh, I'm so tired because we don't do that.
Guess what? We're empty nesters now. Our youngest Lola went off to Utah State this year, and it's a little easier for us.
Yeah, that would make
There
it
was
easier.
a time when they all showed up at 9 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night, and we were out playing pickleball with them on the back pickleball court at midnight. But yeah, we're probably sleeping better, a little bit better now than we were then. But no, Terry really is responsible for so much. As much as I've been very driven throughout my life and very disciplined, there was a time I had graduated. We lived in New York. I graduated as a physical therapist. I thought I wanted to do orthopedics and sports medicine. Opened up a clinic. I had an outpatient orthopedic clinic in Syracuse, built a new building, and was networking, covering high schools, and I'd been there for about a year, and I realized, oh, this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing. There's something more. And I found out about electrodiagnostic medicine and instantly just knew that there was something there and started looking into it. I reached out to a couple of folks that ended up mentoring me. One in particular, his name's Rick Nilsson, just an incredible person. But he'd practiced electrodiagnostic medicine for about 30 years, and I reached out to Rick and I started following him. After about 4 months, I knew that it was what I was supposed to do, but I just couldn't. I'd worked so hard to build a clinic, build a building, open an outpatient orthopedic clinic. I was doing everything that I thought that I was supposed to do and wanted to do. And I was really struggling because I knew it wasn't what I was supposed to do. And Terry one day asked me the question. She said, Bryan, what's the worst that can happen if you leave this and you jump in? Because going into electrodiagnostics meant I was going back to school for 4 years, and then I was going to have to get board certified, and I was going to spend the 2 years getting board certified. So it was a big haul to leave. And she said, what's the worst thing that can happen? And I said, well, I don't know. I guess I just don't make it. And so I come back and I start another clinic and I get things going. And she said, no, that's not the worst thing that can happen. The worst thing that can happen is one day you're going to turn 45 years old and you're going to look back and say, I wish I would have done it. She said, you're going to regret that you didn't do it. And that hit me with such force.
That's awesome.
And so our family motto after that became live without regret. And you and I, Trevor, talked about this a little bit, but living without regret isn't just don't do the things that you're not supposed to do, but also do the things that you know you should do. Because there's regret on both sides. Regretting when you did something you knew you shouldn't, and regret because you just didn't do it and you knew you should. And so she has been that for me. She's reminded me of, live life, go for it. You've got it. We're calculated, so we do our homework. We make sure that it's stable, but at the same time, we realize sometimes you just got to jump. And
that's awesome.
She helped me jump. So she took me from that orthopedic clinic, put me on the road to what I practice now in electrodiagnostics, and I think in some ways that happened with Bakcou. We looked at each other and said, are we going to regret if we don't do this? Even though we were so busy, we were, both of us with big callings in the church and doing so much with our, Terry's a school teacher. She graduated from Weber State University with her degree in elementary education, and she taught elementary school. She taught junior high school. She'd worked a little bit as a personal trainer in fitness, and we had a lot going on. But we both looked and it felt right, and we were like, let's not regret.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Live with no regrets.
Yeah.
Is that what was that?
It's live without regret.
Live without regrets.
I love that. Regret. Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. What an awesome lesson from your wife, teaching you that and helping you live that way. And I'm sure the family now. So now you guys have this incredible marriage. Yeah. How many?
We have 4 kids, 2 boys and 2 girls.
Yeah.
And then 2 of them are married. So we have a son-in-law and a daughter-in-law.
Cool. That's awesome. And 1 grandbaby, right?
And 1 grandbaby.
Yeah, that's amazing. Can't believe you're only 35. You've been married for no, what's been the highlight of being a father for you, and how have you all these things that you're doing in life and incorporating into your life, and the hunting and the passion and the fitness and all that, like how do you incorporate that all into family time as well and the way you guys live?
Yeah. We try to, and it's not always easy. Sometimes things pull on you more at one time than they do another. But no, Terry and I, we're blessed with 4 amazing kids, and now 2 more, and they're just good kids. We just love spending. There's nothing we would rather do than spend time with them, and we have a lot of fun when we're together.
It's a big deal when, like when we were in Africa. And I remember you were talking to somebody on the phone, and you guys were laughing. And did you hear about this? Or something was going on in sports and everything. And I thought it was your son, and it was your son-in-law that you're like, yeah, we chat all the time. And not that that doesn't surprise me necessarily. I've got an incredible father-in-law as well, but it said a lot about you, just the call from a son-in-law and how you guys were chatting and the conversation. I was just like, it was like he's one of your own.
He is one of my own. I love Colton. His name's Colton Manning, and I love him as much as my boys, as much as my daughters. He's an amazing young man. He's an old soul. He literally is. You recognize that in just a couple of hours, and seeing a 26-year-old boy take a microphone in front of hundreds of people and stand up there and bear his soul and his witness of Jesus Christ and what we're all doing there as he did, and he's that tenfold in everything that he does.
Cool. It's awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Is there something you've done to raise resilient, good kids? I'm always trying to find routines for myself, and I've got my own personal morning routine. I've got certain things that I make sure that I do on a regular basis, but I've still got some time with my kids, and even once they're out of the home, you still have them as your children, right? You got to let them do their thing. But like, I know there's a lot of parents, there's a lot of fathers that listen in on this podcast. Have there been some things that you'd say, hey, this was very instrumental in helping my children, grow and develop the way that they should? Or
I think when my kids were at home and they were younger, I felt like my responsibility was to raise them to be independent, to raise them so that they could be adults one day, because someday they're going to leave the house. And are they going to be able to stand on their own 2 feet? Are they going to recognize, for themselves, where should I be and what should I be doing? And so I felt like as a young dad that my purpose was to teach them to be independent and to be able to be an adult and to be, an active member of society. And what am I going to do? How am I going to contribute? When you give somebody your word, then you follow through on that. And so I felt like that was kind of my responsibility as a young dad. Now, with all of my kids being out of the home, I feel, sometimes you would say, well, the kids are out and now we have more. I think your kids need you as much now as they needed me then. It's in a different way. I'm not having to, cook them dinner and breakfast and do all the things that we did when they were younger. but they need us in different ways as mentors and supporting them and advice and just sitting down and listening and talking. But I see now my role in, as much as we love boy trips and the boys going off and doing things, and we all love to hunt and we all love to do sports and all that kind of stuff, I'm very sensitive about, is this activity strengthening the relationship that they have with their spouse? Am I doing things that aren't benefiting me, but are benefiting their marriage? How can I plan trips? How can I plan activities when they're in my home, when we're having discussions? What am I doing that is making Meg and Colton's relationship better? Jet and Abby, how am I strengthening their relationship? Because if they leave and their marriage is stronger, then I succeeded.
Wow.
If they leave and they think, and it gave me something, or it gave one of them something, then I didn't win. I win when they leave, and it has nothing to do about anybody else in the room but those two.
That's powerful. That's good. Do you and your wife kind of plan how that looks beforehand, or is it just a natural thing for you guys to, and just an intentionality that kind of comes natural to you?
My wife, it comes natural too. She's just good with them. She's just good with people. She's we've talked, Terry, she's been, if you're a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, she's served as a Ward Young Women's President, a Stake Young Women's President. She's served in every presidency that you can. She's in the Relief Society presidency right now. She's good with people. She's good with kids when they're young, when they're teenagers, and she's good with when they're adults. It comes natural to her. For me, I have to look for opportunities. I have to look and say, okay, I'm going to have all my kids together on this day. What am I going to do that's impactful? What can I do that when they leave, that was something that strengthened them, uplifted them? And it, sometimes it might be all of us are together, and sometimes it might just be me and one of them on a hunt, or me and one of them, in the car, or me and one of them. So I think it is, for me, something I have to look for. But it is the top of my mind. That's and awesome. So I am constantly thinking, how can I ask him about them?
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. Something I need to do a better job with.
I've watched you from a distance, Trevor. You do.
No, I love what I'm learning, because it's so applicable to some things I need to do to do much better. And that's what life is all about, right? We have opportunity to do a little better, even if we feel that we have missed out on a few opportunities here and there. It's good to have the reminder to make sure it's top of mind. All in all, with all of this, I mean, I know you as an incredible businessman. I've never been treated by you as a doctor, but I see the intelligence. I see the process you go through. I know the time you've put into it. I know your desire and care for people to see them well and whole. And I've seen in person, I've seen online, I've seen many aspects of you as a husband and as a father. But the one characteristic of you that I love the most is your discipleship of Jesus Christ. Why is that so important to you? Why am I sweaty-eyed right now?
Well, you're going to get me sweaty-eyed.
And how has that played a part in each of those titles that you've carried?
Because everything good in my life has come because of the Savior. I grew up in a home that I was less active, and we went to church, but I didn't go every week. I remember a time when I actually went to a meeting one time, and they were talking about attendance for the last year, and just mentioning some of the young men that had 100% attendance and 90% attendance, and then they kept going down and down and down, and I was that young man that was 40% attendance. And I just, that hit me. But I grew up in a home of wonderful parents that supported me unconditionally. My dad coached me through football and basketball and baseball. My mom came to every event, and I just have incredible supportive parents that literally made me feel very self-actualized, like I could do anything. and they made me feel like I could do anything. But I got to that magic age of 18 and was, I spent my high school years for the most part in Okinawa, Japan. My dad was in the Air Force. My mom was in the Navy, and we lived on Okinawa. I went to Kubasaki High School. And right towards the end of my senior year, we moved back to Utah. I had 5 months left of my senior year. And within a month, I met this really cute girl. And we became best friends, and I got to be in their home, and their home changed me. At that time of life, when you're a young man, you're trying to figure out what's my next step, what's my next, where am I supposed to go next? And I had a lot of friends that were talking about missions, and it wasn't something I was even considering. And but in her home, I felt the Spirit. Her dad was a worthy priesthood holder that invested his time and energy in his family, as did her mom, who was just an absolute angel. And they were good to me, and they loved me, and I felt something different. When I was in that home, this family, you could tell the Savior was at the center of their home. And that started a series of questions for me. I went home one evening and sat on a little banana chair down in the basement and started to read from the pages of the Book of Mormon. And I felt this overwhelming spirit that I couldn't deny. And I couldn't wait to go back and tell her mother about it. And I did the next day. And shortly after that, it was probably a week after that, I was with Terry. So that cute girl became my wife. And I was with Terry, and I told her, I think I'm going to go on a mission. And Trev, this is at a time when I wasn't attending church. And
it's a big leap.
That's a big jump. That's a big jump. And I said, I think I'm going to go on a mission, because I felt I didn't know the gospel, but I knew that I was supposed to go. And I had watched her sisters and their husbands, and they had something that I wanted, and I couldn't be that for this girl that I had so much admiration for if I didn't do it. And I knew it. I knew it inside. And so I said to her, I think I'm going to go on a mission. And it's hilarious. She looked right at me, and she said, Bryan, you're going to be amazing. You'll be such a great missionary. You need to start going to church first.
I can picture her saying just that,
She did.
So kind and caring, but instructive, and you gotta do
Honey,
some things.
You'll be amazing. Go to church. Start there. And I did. So I started coming to church with her, and I started down the road and was called to be a missionary in Cape Town, South Africa, and had a tremendous experience there. And from that point, everything good in my life has come because of the gospel. And I went, during one of my callings, I had a little frame with a saying on my desk, and it was President Monson, and he was talking about the Savior when he teaches, and he said, I believe the Savior is telling us that unless we invest our time into others, there is little purpose to our own lives. For those that lose their lives in service, find themselves and essentially save themselves. And I believe that with all my heart. I believe that we find who we really are. I believe I was that kid born with one talent. And if I can just figure out what that talent is and I can use it, He's going to give me more, and it'll be added unto me. And I think that's the secret.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. That's incredible. Yeah. I kind of want to end right there, because I don't want to try to add upon what you've shared about the Savior, if that's okay. I do ask a question often, and it's, how will you measure your life? That could have been the answer right there. Maybe it is. Maybe I'll ask that, and if you're like, that is my answer, that's it. But when all is said and done, as a conqueror in life, Bryan, how will you measure your life?
If I can look back, we all look back and have regrets. We all look back and say, I coulda, shoulda, woulda. I wish that I would have. But if I can look back with the least amount of regret, not for just not doing the things I shouldn't, but I also lived life, and I went after it, and I took the talents that I was given, and I took this amazing wife that I have with me, and together we lived without regret. We put it all out there, and we had fun while we were doing it. Then I think I'll feel okay.
I love it. Yeah, everyone, thank you for listening. Bryan, thank you for being here. I would just challenge everyone to do what he just said. Live without regret. And do that with the Savior by your side. Have him the focus of your life, the focus of your home, the focus of your family. And as we do that, and we're inspired by him, we're encouraged by him, we feel uplifted by the Savior. And we follow in his footsteps. We'll live without regret. I know that to be true. So thanks for being here. Love you, brother. Appreciate you so much. And yeah, let's just go out and conquer more.
Love you, friend. Thank you.
Thank you. Everyone, please subscribe, like, comment, share it. Go buy a Bakcou e-bike.